I'm going to give you all the resources in this video. I'm going to show you also give experts what experts have to say. But this video you can see as sort of a tutorial about converting to Islam. And as another prophet said, resistance is futile. We will all be assimilated. I think it was the great prophet Patrick Stewart who said that. Salamu alaikum. Peace unto you. Happy 2026. Welcome here. In this video, I want to give you all the resources you need to convert, because as you know, maybe you've not seen it yet, but in the news lately, the wise people of the Democratic Party, the people of Virginia, the people of New York City, the universities, people in the MAGA movement, in the Christian circles, and on the conservative side of the political spectrum, Tucker Carlson and other important figures, have in their infinite wisdom decided that we should forget about ideas like the republic and democracy and capitalism and free markets. We are going to go with a combination of Marxism and Islam. And this is a great thing because, as you know, Islam is peaceful. And so this constitution is so 20th century with all its amendments and all the freedoms and things. We really need to put that behind us. Christianity, the Bible, Judeo-Christian values. What archaic ideas. We live in the 21st century now, for goodness sake. We're in 2026 and we must move forward. And peaceful Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. The world population is about 8.1 billion and Islam has about 25% of that and growing, like the Roman Empire, except much faster, much bigger, and with so much enthusiasm. So we can look forward to this new America, where we will not be held captive anymore by these constitutional laws and religious freedoms and freedom of speech and freedom of expression and freedom of education and freedom of association. All these things, property rights, between the Marxists and the Islamists, they are really going to put some order into our lives. And this is a good thing because peaceful Islam gets all its wisdom from the Holy Quran. And according to the Holy Quran, there are very conservative values that we have to follow. And Judeo-Christian values are just outdated. So, for example, what we can expect is that men's rights are coming back. And this is such a good thing. It's timely too, because we're getting tired of men being, suppressed and so forth. And we can kiss the old feminist movement goodbye. Women's rights, cheers, out the window. LGBTQ, never again. We are going to look forward to a time of order and prosperity under Islamification of America. Now, if there's one thing that's certain, it's that American women are going to love Islam because Islamic women are expected, according to the Holy Quran, to be obedient. They must be obedient to their men, and they must know their place. No back chatting, none of that. No insults, no speaking over their husbands, none of that. And well-mannered. They have to take care of themselves and of their husbands. And think about it. No more fashion. Just one color, one dress code, cover the face, hijab. They're gonna love the hijab. American women, they're gonna love the hijab. They will enjoy that and enjoy, getting unshackled from the burden of feminism and all the things that feminism put on them, all these ideas. All that's out the window. And they're going to love the hijab. That's for sure. And men are also going to have a better time with women who are not allowed, according to the Quran, to commit adultery or cheat on anybody. Then you get stoned. So it's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good, and they're going to love the hijab. And so, and everybody will have to convert. I'm going to give you all the resources in this video. I'm going to show you also, give what experts have to say. But this video you can see as sort of a tutorial about converting to Islam. And as another prophet said, resistance is futile. We will all be assimilated. I think it was the great prophet Patrick Stewart who said that. And so I've gathered some resources for you to show you what we can do, and it's not going to cost a lot either. Now, Islam is rapidly taking over the world. And in most places, not in all places, but in most places, it's done very peacefully, without firing a shot. And all they do is basically, they just call everything that's against them Islamophobic. So get used to that. If you resist, you're going to be called an Islamophobe. And that you don't want to be called. You don't want to be called that. Because Islam is peaceful and it is holy. And so let me show you some of the resources that I have collected for you. Here we have a language resource. Now, I looked at the two big ones, right? The two big ones. One is Babbel, babbel.com, because this is a very reputable resource for learning another language. Now, honestly, I thought, I'm going to have to learn Spanish. And then at some point I thought we're going to have to learn Chinese. But no, the future is Arabic. The future is Arabic because we are all going to have to be able to recite verses out of the Holy Quran. But unfortunately, here on Babbel's website, it is clear that they only teach a small number of languages. And you can go here to the what languages can I learn with Babbel, and there's no shame on Babbel for not teaching the language of the Prophet, peace be unto him. That Arabic is not here. It's not here. Okay. But there's good news. There's good news. You can go to rosettastone.com, and here you can see that Rosetta Stone is in tune with the times. It has Arabic as a language that you can learn, and there's also some current deals going on. So for as little as like $11 a month or something, you can learn Arabic. Okay. And then you are also going to have to get yourself a Holy Quran. Now, there are English translations of the Holy Quran that you can buy on Amazon.com for as little as $9. Look at that. A whole book. This is a paperback. You can also get it in a hardcover. This is a leather-bound one for $20. That's not bad. I mean, I don't even think you're going to get a Bible in a leather-bound cover. So this is what you look at that. Beautiful. There you can get your Holy Quran. Free. Does it have free shipping? Look at that. Free shipping for an entire Quran. $20. That's a deal. That's a steal, that deal. And then remember, you should probably get yourself a Quran in Arabic as well. As you are learning the language, you want to get the original, you want to get your Quran in the original language too, because you're going to learn to read Arabic too, right? So read, speak, and write. So get two. Get one in Arabic, get one in English. And then don't forget that for praying, you're going to need a prayer rug. So here is a site I found. It's called the Islamic Place. And I'm not getting any commissions or anything like that. I don't endorse this site at all, but I just wanted to show you that you can buy rugs, beautiful prayer rugs here for $13. $25. Look at it in different. Look at these beautiful patterns and colors. There's purple, there's green, there's a red one. And this one's even in for $5. Look at that, 5 stars for $5. What? Here's another one, a green one for $5. Beautiful pattern there. This one is $15. So it's not going to cost a lot. Converting is not going to cost a lot of money. This is good news. And you can roll this thing up and you can carry it with you. Actually, you can get it in any color that fits with your color scheme. And maybe you can put one in different rooms, right? Buy a few. Get one that you can roll up and take with you. Put one in a car. At this price, I would get a few. I would put one in all my bedroom, and one in the living room, and maybe one downstairs in a family room, and one in a car, and one to travel with if I go on a trip. So yeah, you see. So I've done all the homework for you. I'll put these links in the description, so that you can look it up and benefit from these links. Yeah. So peaceful Islam is going to replace everything we have. The Constitution and those old archaic amendments and things that are so 20th century, isn't it? We have to move forward and get at the tip of where advancing is, at the spearhead of the advancement of the civilized world. And this is the answer. I mean, look, people much smarter than us have decided for us, right? People in politics, they are very smart. They think ahead of the future for us. And so they've made this decision, and we will assimilate. And then I want to introduce you to somebody who can educate us more, because I don't know so much. I want to that can educate us all on peaceful Islam. And who better to ask than Ayaan Hirsi Ali? So she was born in Mogadishu, Somalia. And Mogadishu, Somalia is here at the tip of the Horn of Africa. So if you look at Africa, if you can find it on a globe, if you have a world globe, then Africa is that continent that looks like a horse's head. And the ear of the horse, here on the right side, for you it's over here, the horse's head has an ear. And that ear, the tip of that ear is Somalia. Now, that's on the Indian side, Indian Ocean side of Africa, just south of the Middle East. And if you go to the opposite side of Africa, you hit the Atlantic Ocean. And if you move further west across the Atlantic, you're going to hit America. So that's how it all works together. And so remember, you can use Google Earth and find out where you are on Google Earth, and then find out where Mecca is, and then you can use your phone to figure out what direction you have to point your prayer rug at 3 times a day when you pray. So that's how you can do that, and then just put your mat down in that direction, and every day you can pray in that direction, and you can do this just in a general direction of Islam. It's sort of east. You're going to look east. Now the Somalis are in Somalia are famous for their excellent naval operations. They have sophisticated Navy operations on the seas around Somalia. And you may have heard this, that when there are cargo ships or freighters on the ocean that comes too close to Somalia and invade on their waters, they will liberate those ships from their captains and crews and their cargoes. And they're really good at this. They've built a reputation of their sea operations. In fact, a movie has been made about them. I think it is Captain Phillips with Tom Hanks is the movie's name. And I know, is Tom Hanks Jewish? I don't know. But they were up against the evil Captain Phillips on that ship. So I really recommend you watch that movie. And then here in the United States, they also have a reputation. The Somalians have a reputation because they are the absolute kings, the experts, the gurus when it comes to daycare centers. The Somalians are superb. They run the best daycare centers in the world, all over America. And what they have figured, and I want to get into the daycare business. I want to get into daycare business because it's very profitable. And not only that, you get help from the government. You can get paid from by the government. You get grants and you get tax. You don't pay taxes. You get a salary. And you make millions of dollars just by running a daycare center. And the neat thing, the problem with starting a traditional daycare center is that they are children. And so you deal with these kids, right? So you have toys and diapers and food and, bottles and milk and, all kinds of stuff that you deal with. And you have to have, it's like a school. So it's dirty and it's loud and noisy and annoying. But what the Somalians have figured out is that you can run multiple successful daycare centers without having to deal with these children. And that's what I'm interested in. And what I hear is you can, if you want to start one, you need to approach your local Somalian community and ask them for help on how they do that. And then they'll teach you. And then for the funding, you have to approach your local Democratic representative, and they will help you. And they will put you on programs that you get tax-free money from the government. You get grants. You get millions of dollars. You don't have to pay any taxes. You can just live like a king or a queen. And this sounds magical. You don't have to work. It's actually, I believe this is going to be the number one startup company or industry in 2025 and 2026. It's the number one. I've never seen anything like that. And when you start one, what I know so far is you have to board up the windows, because you don't want people from the outside to see what's going on and invade on the privacy of what you're doing inside without these children. And then another thing that you don't want is you don't want journalists and things to get into your business. So what you do is you put plaques everywhere that says no recording equipment, no cell phone. It's a banned from this premises, right? And you put guards out. You keep people that you unwanted eyes and ears out. You don't want too much attention to your business, because a lot of people are just envious, especially these white supremacy types. They and the conservative types. They get envious of people who make money and not to have to do a lot of work. And so they're going to try to stop you. But anyway, so talk to your Somalian friends and local community about that, and your Democrat representatives. They'll put you on the right course and help you and set you up. What I haven't figured out yet is what is a leering center. I know what a daycare center is, but I'm still trying to figure out what is a leering center. This is invented by the Somalians, and I haven't figured it out yet. So if somebody can tell me, please, what is a leering center? Because it's very, 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 very lucrative business. So Ayaan was born in Mogadishu, and at 5 years old, because she was born in a Muslim family, a devout Muslim family. And when she was 5 years old, her family had her undergo some surgery. Here we call it female genital mutilation. But because Islam is a peaceful nation, they call it something else. And this little girl then became a very devout Muslim, because this surgery makes them devout to Islam and to the Prophet, peace unto him. And so she became a devout Muslim, and she studied the Quran very, very religiously. She prayed every day, 3 times a day, very, very, very religiously. She wore her hijab, her face covering, and she loved it. And this is important. She loved her face covering. And then when she grew up, and she was still a devout Muslim, and she became because she's intelligent. She's very intelligent. She went to the Netherlands, and she learned to speak Dutch, and she learned to write Dutch, and then she became a politician in the Netherlands. And eventually she came back to the United States, and here she has been a speaker, and she educates people and tells people about Islam, and she has written books. She's very intelligent, very, 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 very articulate person. And so I'm going to play for you a clip by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Here she is.
I don't know how much on Islamism, how much knowledge on Islamism to assume among this group here tonight. I will address the clarification of Islamism versus regular Muslims during the Q&A, but in the interest of time, I want to move on. And before I move on, I want to give you a taste of the Islamist-driven hatred of Jews. Please play the video.
من حالة نفسية مضطربة لأنهم هم سارقون، هم معتدون، والسارق والمعتدي الذي أخذ مالا بغير حق أو أرضا بغير حق يظل في اضطراب نفسي واضطراب في وجداني أنه أخذ شيئا واعتدى عليه. هم يريدوا أن يثبتوا للعالم، أن يثبتوا للواقع الدولي والإقليمي أنهم أصحاب حق. هم جرثومة غريبة، جرثومة وميكروب لا مثيل له في الوجود. والله مش أنا الذي أقول، القرآن الكريم وصفهم بأنهم لا يوجد لهم مثيل. لتجدن أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود. يهلك هيك قرفة ناس لا عندهم لا دين ولا مبدأ ولا ضمير ولا أنا أستنكر ممن يؤمن بالتطبيع معهم، ممن يؤمن بالجلوس معهم، ممن يؤمن أن هؤلاء بشر، ليسوا بشر وليسوا أناس وليسوا لا بذوات دين ولا ضمير ولا أخلاق.
وإحنا كراهيتنا أو كرهنا لليهود من منطلق عقيدة. القرآن هو اللي بيدعونا أن احنا نكرههم وما نحبهمش.
لو أن اليهود تركوا لنا فلسطين خلاص يبقوا حبايبنا؟ لا طبعا، عمرهم ما هيبقوا حبايبنا إطلاقا. عقيدتك في اليهود: واحد أنهم كفار، اثنين أنهم أعداء، مش أعداء عشان يحتلوا فلسطين، وإنما هم أعداء ولو لم يحتلوا شيئا.
نحن نعادي يهود حتى ولو أعادوا إلينا فلسطين لأنهم كفار.
هؤلاء هم اليهود باختصار. وإن لنا عندهم نحن المسلمين لثأرا لا والله لن ينقضي إلا باستئصالهم بإذن الله تعالى، لأنهم حاولوا ابتداء قتل نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم مرات.
أعداء المسلمين بعد إبليس هم اليهود. من الذي قال ذلك؟ الله.
So that's not the clip I wanted to play for you. But it's water under the bridge now. I did. So I didn't want to break this news too early, but I believe Ayaan, from this I gather, and my Arabic is not very good. I was just reading the captions underneath the video. So I haven't studied Arabic long enough to understand everything that was said. But if I read the captions, I believe what Ayaan is telling us is that the Jews are evil. They don't deserve to live. And this is, of course, we know this, of course, because Candace Owens said so. Candace Owens said that Israel is the demonic state. What, you don't believe me? Watch.
I'm talking about Israel. I don't want you guys to read in between. I'm talking about Israel. So let's stop making that a taboo subject because they've gone mask down. Everything they're doing is demonic. I want nothing to do with it. I will never support Israel into the future. I don't care. Please write your article. You've already written them all. I don't know what you could add about me. But I do not support Israel. And I don't think that Jewish Americans should support Israel. And I hope that they're now having those conversations. I see many of them recognizing that they have been propagandized into believing they have to support this demonic state. And that's in large part thanks to their birthright trip. That the entire purpose of that birthright trip, telling every Jewish American, you forget a free trip to Israel, was to propagandize you into believing that you have some affinity with this made-up country in the Middle East, in 1948, that you have to, react when something's happening to them, or you have to look away when they're doing things that are so obviously wrong and demonic. And so I'm hoping now that we're getting to that point where people can recognize that whether you're Black, you don't have to agree with BLM. Whether you're Jew, allowing your identity to shape your morality is problematic, okay? And Israel, in and of itself, is the demonic nation. I will never support Israel.
Yes, so Candace said Israel is a demonic state. And we all know this. So because, of course, we have to believe Hamas. We have to believe the United Nations, and don't believe those thousands and tens of thousands of allegations against UN peace workers and UN aid workers who've been accused of child sex trafficking and child molestation. And don't believe that. Those accusations, those are just false allegations. And don't believe that the UN has been blocking food to the Palestinian people in Gaza. It's not true. Israel is an enemy of the West and of everybody. They are evil. And Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens say so. So, just so you know. And by the way, I have bad news for the Christians too, because when Islam takes over, you Christians, it's not going to go so well for you. Now, because like Jews are evil, so are Christians. And according to the Holy Quran, Jews and Christians are immoral. But Christians can convert. Christians can be converted. And now if they don't want to, they are like the Jews. Now, for the Jews and the Christians, especially for the Jews, Peaceful Islam has a rapid weight loss program. It's very, very efficient. If you're a Christian, there's also good news. You can keep, sometimes, under some circumstances, the Holy Quran says you can keep your religion. Not your Bible, not your church. You're not allowed to worship. Well, in Great Britain, you cannot pray silently either. So I guess that's also going to happen. So you cannot pray. You can keep your religion, but you cannot pray. And if you pray silently, you'll be loudly arrested. So, but you can also, and it's not clear exactly when, but you can pay the jizya tax, and then you can basically keep your constitution from about here down. You can keep that if you pay the jizya, and that's hopefully. But we don't know how much the jizya is. It's not defined. They decide. But at least that's some hope for those Christians. I don't know. I don't think you're going to keep your Bible or you're going to keep your churches. That's not going to happen. But maybe you can keep this down. Everything from here down, you can keep that. And it's good. That's good. That's good. We don't need those Judeo-Christian values anymore. They are passé. They're outdated. They are worn out. They are Islamism. It's what we want. So anyway, let me play you the next clip by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. And I want you to listen to how she answers questions. She's going to field some questions from the students. Let's listen to what she says.
I would like to reiterate the thanks for your time here at the University of Austin. What I wanted to ask you was, you speak of Islamophobia and classes like Black Studies as phony ideological things, but I was curious as to what makes them different. What makes white supremacy different, or like Islamophobia so different from antisemitism, as there, we did import many African slaves that died in the millions, and so did South American countries even more so. We did force Native Americans on forced marches and genocide. There are Muslims being massacred in China today. So what makes antisemitism so different?
Two things. One is we have reckoned in America and in Western European countries, we've had a great reckoning with our past. We've addressed the fact that we engaged in slavery, we fought a war, we ended it. We had segregation, we had another major fight, we ended it. We had the civil rights movement. We brought women out of, and by the way, in fighting for all of those emancipations, the people who were heading these fights were constantly quoting from the Bible. They were believing Christians and they were inspired by their Christianity. So number one, we had that reckoning. Number two, anti-Semitism is the oldest hatred in humanity, and you find it, believe it or not, across the entire world. What made the West different after they nearly exterminated their Jews was to have that honest look in the mirror and reckon with what they did. And then those campaigns to end it. Islamophobia is a made-up word. It's made up by a political movement that wants to exploit and capitalize on white guilt to achieve its end goal, which is the revival of the caliphate. And the revival of the caliphate is to convert all of us into Islam, whether we like it or not. Those of us who refuse to do that, we will surely be beheaded. I'm sure I'm on top. And that is their end goal. And so they're exploiting these Western part of subversion. This is just a guest speech, but I wish that at some point someone here could start a lecture series on subversion, on active measures, on asymmetric warfare, that would get you interested in what it is that the Islamists are doing and how they've become so successful against these great nations with this incredible military and economic structures, and yet the Islamists are winning. Islam is spreading. They're doing better today than they were doing in 2001 after they hit us and we invaded Afghanistan. They've got Afghanistan back. They have Iraq back. They have Syria. And these Muslim governments are they're shaking in their boots. They're worried about what could happen to them because of the Islamist movement, and that's why the Islamist movement came here. And they're exploiting principles like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, and so on. And of course, these progressive movements that we have here, we've got to understand that, and we've got to become really creative in finding a way of preserving our principles. I don't want to give up on the freedom of speech, but on the other hand, on beating the Islamists at their game.
Is there room for compromise between principles?
If I want to kill you and behead you, unless you convert to the religion I dictate, what would be the place of compromise?
Well, I would not mind converting, as I myself am an agnostic, so have no faith, have no established faith. However, I understand that some people would not share that vision. So,
let's play with this thought for a while. There's a time and a place for everything, and for some of the people, say in places like Africa, we don't talk about this, but Islamists are active in Africa and violently so. If you're a Christian in Egypt or a Hindu in parts of Pakistan, and you have someone looking at you and saying, you'll either lose your head or you convert to Islam, it makes sense to consider converting to Islam. But here today, for us to have the attitude of, well, we'll see what happens, and if we get to that point, I'll just convert, I will say, are you sure? Maybe you want to get educated on what would happen once you convert. What would your life be like, and the life of your sisters and women? What would they do to the Jews? He has said, this man, I repeat it, he said they're bacteria and they're microbes. And in the video that I showed you, they made it very clear it has nothing to do with Palestine. It has everything to do with them being Jewish. So they are going to annihilate the Jews. Will you stand by and watch that? Maybe I should give introduction to Islam and Islamism as a lecture series, and once you understand what it's all about, you might develop a backbone.
I would look forward to that greatly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Theo already started my question, but my question is inspired by what Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount about blessed are the peacemakers. So we see in human nature a desire to scapegoat, right? And you're arguing that the Jews are being, there's a movement, or there's something that is trying to present Jews as the scapegoat, right? You talk about two important forces, maybe the Islam nation state, which is like a political power, which is a threat, but then also this, like, you talk about this network, like mosques all over the place, and these, communities, and all, it's infiltrating America and the West. So if we don't want to fall into our natural tendency to scapegoat and just become, instead of moving from anti-Semitism to anti-Islamicism, and our goal is to be peacemakers, then how do we do that? But at the end of your last question, you framed it as a violent struggle, right? If it's a violent struggle, then who is our enemies, and what do we do?
Right after 9/11, you were probably not born. How old were you on 9/11?
I was born in 2004.
2004, so before you. So right after 9/11, 2001, when we were having these discussions about how to treat this enemy that wasn't a state, but that was determined to destroy us, some of the discussions were, but we can't do this because of the Constitution. We can't do that because of the Constitution. We can't do this because... And a very frustrated judge or Justice Posner said, the Constitution is not a suicide pact. So I don't think there is a lot of space between committing suicide and doing what the young man here said, is to let it just all happen. And I mean, when the time comes, I guess we will convert or we'll deal with it, whatever. And really looking at and studying openly, which we haven't been able to do because we've been self-censoring. And I gave you that list of all the different ways in which we underestimated the Islamist movement. But if we were to estimate it the right way, I will say in our history in America, it's not the first time that we are fighting an ideology that wants to destroy us. Communism just the other day, not so long ago, most of us lived through it. And you called it a Cold War here, but in Africa and in other parts of the world, it wasn't cold, it was hot. And we starved and all of it. So there were very good reasons for the United States and Western countries to fight the ideology of communism. And they developed a number of, I'd say, tools to recognize it when it's applying internal subversive methods and when it's coming from an external position. And we can reapply those, but we do have to identify Islamism and Islamists as the enemy that they are and give them the full respect. You asked me to identify and you asked me to define what is an enemy. It's a force that wants to destroy you. How do I know that? In this infrastructure of mosques and madrasas and Islamic centers, etc., they say it explicitly. So there is something about don't listen to me, don't listen to the analysts with PhDs and the like. Listen to them and what they say and take it at their word.
So does this come down to a like propaganda war? Like we just inculcate our children before they do? Is that where the battle lies?
I think because the war they wage is totalitarian and total.
But ours,
And
where do we
ours,
meet them?
well, we have to meet, ours has to be total too. It has to be where they fight us with ideas, we fight them with ideas. Where they fight us with subversive means, we recognize that and we dismantle this infrastructure and kick them out of the country. We have those tools, we have these possibilities. We can't just let them spread. And this, again, we did the same to communists. We watched as communists grew and as they were subverting our societies, and we took the appropriate measures against individuals, against groups, and so on, but always with due process and always within the limits of the Constitution. But we can't, again, I repeat, the Constitution is not a suicidal pact.
Hi. So how do we educate against totalitarianism in general? And how do we educate people against like this victimhood mentality, which we see in broader terms? And how do we get to find more people like you? Like, can we re-educate more people, and how could we do that?
Through citizenship, through responsibility, we give individuals responsibility. We should hold individuals accountable. If you want to bring about an Islamist nation here, and if you're shouting from the rooftops that America should become Islamic, we should be able, through education, through schools and the media and every other form of communication, teach young people and older people what exactly that would look like. So one of the problems I've had since I joined this debate after 9/11, 2001, was we are not allowed to talk about what the Islamists want in mainstream media. When they attain power, what are they going to do? Well, look at the Taliban in Afghanistan. The country that I was born in, Somalia, we have a group there related to Al-Qaeda, born out of the Muslim Brotherhood. As soon as they came, got this amount of power, they started amputating people's hands, they started cutting people's throats off, they started stoning women for adultery. and on and on. We've got to be able to show in the universities and the schools and in our media, if you think you're going to be seduced by this idea, this is what it looks like. Islam is one of the fastest growing religions in Europe and in America, and they're growing also by converting people. The Hispanic population, apparently in Houston, is converting to Islam, but no one has told that population what it really means to be part of that, to join that religion, what it is that the religion says. We engage in self-censorship and in politeness, paradoxically, because we were bad to our Jewish minority.
So this was Ayaan Hirsi Ali, and as you can see, as you could tell, she's extremely intelligent, she's very articulate, and she is very clear with her answers to those questions by the students. She did very well, and I highly recommend watching the entire video and, order some of her books, get some of her books, get educated, because she is first-hand expert about what Muslim is about, what Islamism is about, what anti-Semitism has done, the societal impact. She covers everything in a very, very clear and concise way. And so watch that videos. And if you enjoyed this parody, this video is a parody, at least the first half of it, or the first part of it is, then please subscribe and like, and keep an eye out for the next one. Once in a while I will do one of these. And if you have any thoughts, put it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Salam.